जो रामायण लोगों ने सुनी है, पढ़ी है, देखी है, एग्जैक्टली वही रामायण है, कुछ भी अलग नहीं है।
A few moments later.
हमने रामायण नहीं बनाई है, हम रामायण से प्रेरित हैं।
With the several developments that have taken place ever since the release of Adipurush, one can clearly conclude that the results have not been really shocking. Everyone anticipated a humongous weekend due to the star presence of Prabhas, the long marketing strategy of the film, the wide news coverage leading up to its release, and most importantly, being based on a sacred text that is universally known. The quality of the film had most people anticipate that there was going to be a huge drop in the ticket sales, but no one imagined for it to have such a dramatic fall that it clearly indicates that the Indian audience rejected Adipurush as a tribute to the Ramayan. A 34 crore Sunday collection in Hindi was followed by a 77% drop, with its Monday collection in Hindi being 8 crores, and even more of a steep decline the following day on Tuesday, where the Hindi version of this expensive project just amassed 5.15 crores at the box office. Absolutely dreadful and embarrassing numbers, and while we have covered what exactly went wrong with the film from a screenplay perspective, I would want to go through this video talking about the growing frustration among the audience regarding the marketing of this film, and why it has also manifested in them calling out the makers for their hypocrisy, calling out for bans, calling out for boycotts, and the media shenanigans that have followed have actually caused more harm than good to the fate of this film. So let's get to 5 reasons why the Indian audience rejected Adipurush. Lies on dialogues. I think the growing frustration towards Manoj Mantushir is justifiable, as his constant need to give interviews to justify and defend the quality of his dialogues in the film has only adversely affected the movie versus helping it out. What's hilarious and not so surprising at all is that months before the release of the film, Manoj Mantushir vocalized how Deepika wearing an orange bikini in Pathan was irresponsible by film creators, and that they should have not taken such a step and been careful about the sentiments of the nation. A creator, I believe, who really felt that he will have the support of those who stood up in arms against Pathan and Brahmastra, labeling it anti-Hindu or anti-India. Before the release of the movie, the writer claimed to have not deviated a centimeter away from Ramayan. Then after the release, claimed to have just been an adaptation of the sacred text, on how he simplified the writing to reach a wider audience. He further claimed that the reason why people have a problem over critical of the film was because people have problems with the audience chanting Jai Shri Ram in theatres. And then, as a complete 180 to the writer and his claims in these interviews, the makers paid attention to the concerns of the audience and promised to change the dialogues of the film, as their intention was never to hurt the sentiments of any section of society. This consecutive nature of stating one's defense, saying something completely contradictory a few days later, has been nothing short of frustrating. What I do feel about the audience and their reactions to the film is that there is nothing more of a stronger statement than to reject a film by you not giving your hard-paying salaries to its box office numbers, versus resorting to violence or calling for its ban, something that I feel no one should stand for or defend. The movie's failing and rejection from the audience is its biggest defeat. 6 months of patchwork. I think the onset of the deception started from this perception created by the filmmakers that they want the best product to be put out there. Immediately after the teaser had dropped, Om Raut and Manoj Mantushir did media interviews defending their vision of the film and how the audience was jumping the gun regarding its overall quality. But just like the 180 that happened with its dialogues, the makers stalled its release with the idea that there was going to be a massive overhaul of how the film looks. This created an atmosphere of how they were mindful of what people were saying, how they understood the criticism of the special effects, how this was all for the benefit of the film, and it just being a learning curve for the production company. Let's be honest, barring the visual saturation and brightness of the frames, nothing much was changed, and the monumental effort made in safeguarding the film under the protective layer of religion and devotion became abundantly clear. Every sacred location and godman being utilized for its promotion, as a director breaks down in dedicating a seat for Lord Hanuman in each theatre as the entire cast chanted Jai Shri Ram, made people skeptical of where the effort has gone in making this film, or just compelling one to believe that their moral duty to respect and revere this film is paramount, just because of it being associated with a sacred text that is dear to everyone. Overconfidence and our naivety. I think this also puts into perspective the naivety we as an Indian audience have in putting creators up on a pedestal as if they can do no wrong when they achieve brief success. The box office performance of Tanaji really made everyone believe that Om Raut is a visionary. While the premise and its execution had several elements working in its favor, I think everyone overestimated his potential, especially while expanding on a text that is so vast and not everyone's cup of tea. Om Raut and his dismissive attitude towards the criticism did not help in his media interviews, and while his intention to make this film might be noble, if I were to live in a perfect world that is, it is fully justified for the public to label his rendition as an absolute misfire. One before the release was creating parallels with Raut and SS Rajamouli for God's sake, and I feel like this becomes especially a disservice and borderline offensive for the years of work a veteran puts versus one who gets acclaim with his first feature film. It is not further from the truth that most people think that SS Rajamouli and Sanjay Leela Bhansali possibly could be the only creators who can make Ramayan or Mahabharata a reality, and even more so, are fully aware of how the films would only be parts of the entire epic, either based on single characters or specific events to do it full justice. Creative liberty has gone wild. This movie was a failsafe, literally. You've got the country's most popular star, you've got a sacred epic that is revered across the country. What could possibly go wrong? You've got adaptations that have done full justice to the text. You can literally borrow the screenplay and make a riveting epic. But what we got were ideas on acid that were not only unnecessary but presented characters in a comical fashion. You've got this concoction of Game of Thrones and Vikings and Planet of the Apes that was far away from a faithful and respectful adaptation. Feeding raw chicken to a dragon and bootleg dementors from Jani Dushman was something that we did not sign up for. One can argue that Ramayan is probably best translated in an animated feature as there are so many animals to be fully digitally created from scratch, but the motion capture technology and the end product everyone saw was abysmal to say the least. Movies like Bhediya and Brahmastra with a cheaper budget than Adipurush could present far more riveting and impressive visuals. The sorry state of the special effects has also made people appreciate movies like Ravan and Robot that came more than 10 years ago but still had more attention to detail with its visual effects. Alternatives and what should be the future. The most important point about the frustration and anger among the audience is because they have seen renditions of the Ramayana that have thoroughly impressed them, and this attempt just paled in comparison. But more importantly, the question arises, does anyone really have the ability to faithfully adapt this as a full feature film? Does the backlash this film has received instill fear and doubt in a creator like Nitish Tiwari, who wants to make this as a dream project? Will boycott Bollywood enthusiasts ever accept mainstream Hindi film actors to play such revered characters? Only time will tell. But I think what's essential to understand, and the biggest learning, is what Satyajit Ray once said, that to give full justice to these epics, chapters of it really need to be fleshed out as full feature films, versus attempting to do the unthinkable and make an entire film on the epic thinking you will do justice to every subplot and character. The future post Adipurush will be interesting to analyze and understand. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below whether you have some video ideas for our channel. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.